Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here today with Kevin McCurdy. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, David. How's it going?
Fantastic. That was a big win. That was a really big win.
Every win from here on out is a big win.
Yeah, every win all season, it feels like. So it was a 5-3 win over the San Jose Sharks, division rival, a team on the rise, a team that for a long stretch of this game looked an awful like the young Edmonton Oilers pouring it on and tying the game. Kevin, let's get right into it. Two good things, two bad things, and two numbers. What is your good thing, Amundo?
I just like how this roster as a whole chipped in light of Leon Draisaitl's now season-ending injury. That's a huge loss is a massive understatement. But what that opened for this team was opportunity, and it was opportunity for key people to step up. What I've seen and what I've expected was good things out of players like Vasily Podkolzin and Matt Savoy, who has been an absolute diamond in the rough. Watching some of his chemistry develop with McDavid has been a sight for sore eyes, because he's able to think the game at the same pace and skate at the same pace as McDavid, or close to it anyways. And just watching him over the past few games make some of these really smart lead passes or chips or whatever to send McDavid flying at doing what he does best, which is, going Mach 12 with his hair on fire. That's been really cool to watch. And, we see guys like Max Jones step up today with a big goal, and just lots of scoring throughout the roster. Even Connor Murphy, right? First goal as an Oiler. Like, these are all important things for the Oilers' success to close it out.
I was hoping to see like a super solid kind of shutdown defensive game. And I guess you could say for two periods we had that. We didn't have it in the second, but it was Savoy has been. So people who watched the Bakersfield Condors last year kind of expected this from him. Although even I saw even doubts from some of them in January when Savoy struggled for a while there. He had kind of a little bit of a slump in his play. But they had a lot of faith in him and a belief that if you put him with skilled players, he's going to succeed. I don't know if I've ever seen a player. I mean, Nugent Hopkins has come close in terms of playing at the same, thinking the game at the same speed and playing the game at the same speed. I mean, Draisaitl thinks the game maybe at a faster speed than McDavid, but plays it a bit slower, just stylistically. But Savoy has that same kind of fast twitch, fast mind game that McDavid has. And he's on that line. I don't see, his coach maybe doesn't like his young players as much as some of us would hope now and then, but it's hard to imagine at this point in the next little while Savoy being taken off this line, at least. Like, he is working so incredibly well with Connor McDavid, and Hyman, of course, is a staple on that line. He just fits right in. He does his job. Savoy got a tip on Hyman's, like, he tipped the puck on net for I don't know if he was credited with a dangerous shot, but it looked like to me it was. And then Hyman slammed in the rebound for the big fifth goal, which was really critical in the third period. So what a hockey player. And Max Jones, I don't know about you, Kevin, but like last year he was pretty unimpressive. He came on strong in his first couple games, and then he faded and wasn't very good for the rest of the time he was in Edmonton. This year, every game he's played, he's made a positive, just about every game, he's made a positive contribution, and tonight was his biggest game of the year, scoring that big goal. So the whole fourth line, Henrique had his best game in months. Frederick has been good for a month and a half to 2 months. He looks like what a relief. What a relief.
He was really good tonight.
He played
really good
he
tonight.
won 2 board battles leading to goals, right? So
Yep.
that were so Jones's play on that goal was just fantastic on the fourth, because Frederick popped the puck down low, and then Jones made the pass to Henrique in the slot for the first shot. and Jones pounced on the rebound and slammed it in. Just a great greasy goal. And so, yeah, I agree. There was some major contributions, and not the least Connor Ingram. The grade A shots in the game were 22 to 17 for the Oilers, according to my count, with the subset of most dangerous 5 alarm shots, 9 each. And Ingram had a lot of tough chances. You'd expect 4 or 5 goals against on that kind of shot quality, but he let in 3. So good for him. Excellent game.
Yeah, what's the high danger shots look like in the second period though?
Oh, I haven't even given Ingram his mark. I have to now. I forgot. People will be
Ingram had an incredible game.
in the
From
second
my
period. You go ahead and talk.
yeah,
I'll add him up.
yeah, no, the Ingram stood on his head when it mattered. He made a couple of crucial saves that kept this team in the game. I'm gonna check here in a second, but I'm pretty confident that for this game, Ingram would be the leader in expected goals. We'll find out here in 1 second. But
San Jose had 11 grade A shots, 11 of their 17 grade A shots in the second period. And they just kept, I just knew the score. I knew they were going to score. They had 7 grade A shots in a row before they scored. And it was just coming on. You could feel it coming, and then it did.
So Ingram here is at half goal saved above expected, and Jelkovic is at -1 basically. So
yeah, I have Ingram a little better than that than they do. I think it would be more like a goal that I saw him better than expected goals. My good thing, Kevin, is after that second period where San Jose stormed them and scored 2 goals and were 2 goals better that period, I was just expecting the worst. I thought the Oilers were going to lose this game, because I just thought San Jose looks like the Oilers look, like they just keep coming with speed, and the Oilers without Draisaitl just don't seem to be able to match that. But Edmonton got an early power play, and that helped. And McDavid almost scored on that tight jam play inside, right by the net. And then Roslovic got a really good chance, and then the great play from Jones, with Jones, Henrique, and Frederick. Then another great play that we've talked about with Savoy, Ekholm outside shot, Savoy tip, and Hyman scoring. But the most impressive thing was in that third period, according to my reading of it, they only allowed 1 grade A shot the entire third period, and that's the kind of defensive play.
Yep.
It's going to be really hard for the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup this year. They're a team that's coming together, and they have enough young talent, I think, that players like McDavid and Draisaitl should have hope that there's good days ahead for this team. There's young players coming on, but they're not really gelling on defense all year long. It's been their main issue, and it was 17 grade A shots against tonight. That's not great. 9 5 alarm shots. That's not great. It should be more like 13 and 6. If you're okay, they're not. They're still not there. But in the third period, they were. They played the kind of game that they need to play to win in the playoffs. And we're seeing more periods of hockey and more games of hockey in the last 5 or 6 games like this, with this kind of defensive, with this blueprint for playoff success. It's not consistent. If they can get it consistent, with Draisaitl out right now, if that can be their focus, getting that defensive game consistent, and McDavid had his best defensive game in a long time. He was really good. Then they can, the top pairing was pretty good. Then they can win some playoff rounds. Don't know how many.
Yeah, to be determined. One thing that we've learned about this team is to never count them out. And I've had various appendages slammed in drawers and doors and whatever enough times to know that it would be unwise to count them out early. But I don't know. To me, like still gonna end up with some interesting issues with minutes distribution heading this out, especially with Draisaitl out. Like McDavid played 25 minutes tonight,
Yeah.
right? Like that's uh, Connor is an amazing player. He's a truly gifted athlete, but that is a big swing if they're going to be doing that every game until the end of the year. They really need to find a way to get more contributions from the rest of the lineup, and they did that tonight to an extent. But they still need to do it a little bit more because I know he wants to play. I know he wants to be out there. I know he wants to contribute, but we also need to worry about setting ourselves up for success in the postseason. And if he's got nothing left in the tank before we even start the playoffs, because he's already had a busy couple of years, plus the Olympics. And again, I don't pretend to know his energy level or understand his, you know, his true drive or inner capability, but he just looks a little bit more tired, I guess, than I'm used to seeing Connor, even though he's still playing phenomenally.
Well, he's peaked twice this year, right? He peaked in December when he
Yeah,
needed to lift the Oilers, and then he peaked at the Olympics again. So I
yeah,
think he would probably like to have been able to cruise into a third peak, but
yeah.
now he's got this incredible thing. He's going to have to lower the temperature on his cold plunge and heat up the sauna a little higher for his battered body the rest of the year. Yeah, I saw you were playing hockey this weekend. Was it this weekend that you played, Kev?
Yeah, I played the heavy hockey showdown in support of the Sexual Assault Center of Edmonton on Saturday, and we raised almost $50,000 for that cause. So that's a wonderful organization that um, it supports a lot of at-risk and vulnerable folks and people that are experiencing, in a lot of cases, the worst crisis in their life, and being able to contribute to supporting folks that are in desperate need of support is something that brings me a lot of pride, and it would have brought Dad a lot of pride too. It was an organization that he supported in the capacity he was able to while he was alive, and there's other folks that are, close to Dad, and people like Lynn Mercero, and and then the wonderful volunteers that help us with that process, that just make it all come together and make it a pretty fun event to play overall. It's been really nice to get back on the ice.
How long have you been
Honestly,
off?
20 years. I hadn't
20
played in
years.
20
So
years. Yeah, I
how did
stopped.
it feel?
So I started playing in early January or mid January, I guess. Again, I started playing some men's league. I found a team to play with there, and there was another. I was playing with Brad McPherson and his group on Sunday mornings at Claire Drake as well.
Oh yeah.
And so I got some reps in there, and the first couple were horrendous because, I mean, it's no secret I'm a bigger guy, and when you don't do things the right way for 20 years, I stopped playing at the end of minor hockey, and in hindsight, I kind of wish that I just kept playing the whole time. But here we are. No better time to start again than now. Uh, as the saying goes.
Will you keep playing
So
now, do you think? Are you going to join a team?
absolutely, I
Excellent.
signed up for the summer. I'm trying to find more ice between now and then, because I started late. I'm not eligible for the playoffs with my CCRHL team, so I just have to see what I can find in the interim to keep skating and not let that stamina wane a little bit. But it's something Dad would have been really proud of.
He would have.
He would have been there with certainty, and he would be happy to see me trying to get a bit healthier. And I guess his passing was a little bit of a wake up call in that regard, as significant life events like that tend to be. So
No
he's
greater.
missed, and he's missed, and this is the best way that I can show that or honor that.
There's when you start playing, there's no greater motivation to try to get in better shape, because to play hockey, which is a gymnastic, difficult test, it is hard at any level of hockey. If you're playing in a game, it is hard because you're just moving out there. It's a game of movement, and you find out you got to be strong and you got to be fit. So good luck with it. And I'm so glad you're playing. It's such a great game to play. Kev, what is your bad thing?
This sequence of pretty mediocre defense through the second period and just lackadaisical play. The long change seems to prey on them. They're prone to not making the best or the smartest plays. When you really need to clear that puck or get it deep, just like it doesn't always have to be pretty. Sometimes you just got to get it done. And there seems to sometimes be finesse when, even if you do lose possession, which is not the ideal outcome, you are still setting your team up for success with changes. You don't necessarily have to win the period outright, but it sure helps if you don't lose it, if you know what I'm saying.
My bad thing is also related to the second period. It's the second goal against, and it was let's call it a two finger wagging goal because there was two Oilers players pointing during the sequence where Wallman turns over the puck in the neutral zone. And between that moment where he turns over the puck in the neutral zone and their goal is scored, which is about 5 seconds later, there's two players pointing at other players saying, you should get over there and cover that guy. Instead of doing it themselves, or so the first one is Wallman loses the puck in the neutral zone and Stastny covers for him. The puck goes into the corner and goes down the ice. Stastny covers for him and Wallman comes straight back. And now he and Stastny are in the same position. So the first finger wag is Wallman telling Stastny, hey, get over there and cover that open man who's about to score. And like Wallman should have just gone, right? If he sees Stastny there, you don't have possession of the puck, just go or communicate more effectively earlier because he's kind of almost whispering his ear, hey, you better get over there. And by then it's too late. So that was the first one. And Wallman's prone to that right now. He's making tons of crazy mental errors, so I'm going to put it, of the strangest type. The second finger wag comes Max Jones and I think it might be Frederick. Jones is telling Frederick to go cover someone, and instead of covering that someone himself, the eventual goal scorer Regenda in the slot who tips it in, Max is kind of pointing out to Frederick he should go do something. Get on the guy, Max. Go cover the guy in the slot. Like I know you have to communicate out there, but you have to communicate a little faster and you got to be more on the ball. Like you see two obvious examples of, you watch this time and again in hockey. If you're telling players where to go out there, it's too late almost. Like if there's a moment where the fans watching the game can see someone instructing and pointing to go cover someone, man, it's too late. Just everyone's got to communicate better than that. And in the end, Wallman's turnover, the two communication breakdowns and the pucks in the net, it's 3-2 and San Jose's off and running. They've been putting pressure on all period long and they finally scored. But that was just really mixed up defensive play.
Yeah, Wallman has struggled, particularly recently, and I'm still not convinced there's not an injury at play because I don't think he's played a complete season in his career, never mind this season, which he's had a number of injuries. I've liked what I've seen out of him the past couple of games quite a bit more than where he was at. I really liked him sending a message with the hit in the previous game. But there's just plays that he's just getting lost on. And, again, if we are critical of other people because of their contract values, if Wallman is a $7 million defenseman, he needs to play like a $7 million defenseman. And he has all the capabilities and skill set to be that guy. We've seen it. It's just a matter of him putting his mind to it a little bit more and I hope getting a little bit healthier, finding a way to stay healthier. I think his conditioning has improved over the past few games in particular since he's returned from his latest injury. So that's a step in the right direction. But it's to me, it's really baffling for what we saw of Jake Wallman last year versus what we've gotten this year, which is not quite the same player.
I never knew that about Wallman, that he had never played a year. I just called up his hockey DB. It looks like the closest he came as a pro. One AHL season he played, 28-19 with San Antonio. He played 66 games, which I think is fairly close to a full AHL season.
Yeah.
But other than that, in all his pro seasons, he plays about
65 games,
two
right?
thirds of the games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like like 2/3 to 3/4 of the games.
What is
He's
incredible about that to me is that somebody on the Oilers didn't look at that history. And it's not like it's 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. Like
yeah.
it's his entire NHL pro career is like that. The only one that I would have to double check is what happened in the COVID season in 21, just to see, because, obviously you can't look for 82s going down that line for that season. But every other season he's been short 10 games a season plus, and we're paying him a
7 million
respectable
a year.
salary for a long time, and I'm just worried about the wear and tear on him in the long run. That said, I love some of the swagger he brings to that line, and I think that there's an opportunity to change the pairings up a little bit here to better empower Wallman to be the best version of himself. And I think that might start with looking at moving Ekholm and Bouchard apart. My opinion is that Ekholm and Bouchard, Bouchard no longer needs Ekholm. His with and without results are practically identical with Ekholm and without Ekholm, but Nurse really needs Bouchard. If you do the with and without there, it's quite striking how much of a better player he becomes paired with Bouchard, and it shocks me that the team is not willing to try that for any real length of time, which would free up Ekholm to go with a guy like Murphy, and then if you do Wallman and Emberson, all of a sudden you have three full pairings that have their strengths and weaknesses. But all of them have a puck mover. All of them have an offensive guy and a defensive guy. And I think that would spread the capability out through the defensive core a little bit more. But that's just one guy's take.
You make a strong argument, Kevin. I just have a little bit of PTSD from Bouchard and Nurse in the playoffs last year against the Kings. They were horrible. And Nurse was, but that's just Nurse in the playoffs in a way. Like that's, you could say, unfortunately, there's been too many series where he's just not played well at all in the playoffs. So,
My only
anyway,
lump
that's
for
that's
the
my only skepticism about your argument is sound. The only other thing is I hate breaking up success. I mean, Ekholm and Bouchard are in the top two or three pairings in the NHL, and I
Yep.
hate breaking up. When you have that, like tonight's game, you could at least put those guys out there in the second period, and the onslaught would stop for a while. But maybe Nurse would really benefit from Bouchard. If they're going to do it, they should do it soon. They shouldn't wait
Yeah,
till the playoffs. Give it a run. I don't think they're going to do it
I don't think
because
so
they
either.
haven't done it yet. So
Yeah. Though speaking of defensive pairings, though, the one pairing that cannot and must not continue anymore is Wallman and Stastny.
they can't. They got to
Uh,
call up Regula, I think, if he's playing okay in the AHL, and see if Regula, like a natural righty, can help out. Anyway,
I might have steamrolled your bad thing there a little bit, but
oh, that's
or
okay.
one of
I
them.
already talked about it. Like no, they were just Stastny. He just struggles, right? He's struggling with the pace and the physicality of NHL play, is how I see the player. Just like
Yeah,
Regula was struggling, like they both have struggled.
5v5 in particular.
Yeah, and me like I just want to see. I liked Regula at the start of the year. He's a big guy, 6'5". He moves the puck well. He needed to play more. He's probably played. Maybe you want to wait a little bit longer, but call him up and let's see what he's got. Because I am extremely dubious about the Oilers' defensive depth for the playoffs. And if players start going down, they may need Regula. And I don't think you can count on Stastny in the playoffs. Like honestly, I just don't see it. So
I I don't know how Stastny looks, or if he makes this team next year. Um, absent some massive summertime move, which is honestly a non-zero percentage chance at this point. But I don't know if we don't already have someone in the system that could potentially be an equivalent skill set, right?
well, maybe Akey. Like maybe even I don't know if it's I don't watch the Bakersfield game, so I can't say. But
Yeah.
Akey's getting some good reports down there. I don't know. He probably needs a couple more years in the minors, though. Kevin, what is your?
Yeah.
Let's move on to numbers. What is your numero?
I actually will have to come back to that again because I've already slipped my mind from babbling too
Okay,
much.
I
So
will.
let's do you.
I will
Let's do
start
your
with my
number. And
number. The Oilers are first. My number is first. I don't know if that's a number. But it's number one, tied with Anaheim in the division. Now Anaheim has 2 games in hand, but the Oilers again have tied for first, which is really big. Like this was a huge win to hammer down San Jose, take the life out of that team a bit. They were coming on strong. Um, they've got 3 games in hand on the Oilers, I believe. And if the score had been opposite, San Jose would have 72 points and the Oilers would have 75 with San Jose with 3 games in hand. Now the Oilers have 77 and San Jose has 70. So the Oilers it would be fantastic if they can finish first, if they can find a way to do that. I don't see why they can't. I think they're a better team than these other teams in the Pacific Division, and they got a lot of games in division. So they got to win them. They got to get it going on defensively and win these games. They're getting some solid goaltending finally. Ingram's in a good streak, and they're also 1 game below Real 500. They have 34 wins and 35 losses all told. So if they can get back to Real 500 with a win next game, they've achieved this, let's say 3 or 4 times this year, where they've been Real 500. I think they've gotten above Real 500 once or twice, 1 or 2 games above, but because they can't string together wins, they never get much above it. Wouldn't that be nice if they could actually string together some wins here?
we're more than 2 games in a row. Yeah, it would be great.
Yes.
My number is face-offs or face-off percentages as a whole across the game tonight, and a couple of surprising ones actually. Jack Roslovic, of all people, took 9 draws, which is not something I realized, and he won 67% of them, which is also not something I realized. So something I should have paid more attention to because the Oilers have historically struggled with draw winning, but the big guys tonight were Roslovic, and Nugent Hopkins was 71%, McDavid 57%. And the only guy that was less than 50 was Jason Dickinson with 45%. And he's, been put in some positions to take some hard defensive draws. And, I think if you come out of that with nearly half you're doing across the board and then dominating in other cases all night long, you're always going to end up in a better position through the hockey game when you're winning face-offs.
What do you think of him so far, of Dickinson?
I think he's a really smart player. I also think that the Oilers would do well to continue to play Murphy and Dickinson together as much as they possibly can. Before tonight, they had 37 and a half minutes of time on ice together, and in that time, they had almost 62% expected goals for. So there's clearly some chemistry there from the Blackhawks days. And the other thing is that I've seen about Dickinson is that, at face value, it appears to be that he's pretty happy to be out of Chicago. He's throwing a ton of hits. He's blocking a ton of shots. He's making a lot of takeaways. He's doing the things that this team needs him to do, and he's going above and beyond his results in Chicago. And I think that that's a excellent sign for the future, especially pending a contract. Hopefully that success here incentivizes him to stay, because we really could use that reliable third line center that we've been missing for what feels like forever, but at least since Ryan McLeod was here, and some people would argue before that. So I like him as a player a lot. I think he's a clever player. I think his boots are a little bit lacking sometimes, but overall his game's IQ is quite high, and he makes the sacrifices that this team needs him to make in the position he's in.
There's things I like about him. I mean, he's still settling in.
Yeah.
So he's made more mistakes on defense than I thought were going to happen. Like tonight, the neutral zone turnover that kicked off the 1-0 goal rush from San Jose. Now that's a tough play in some ways, but it's still a neutral zone turnover.
Yeah.
Um, he's got a lot of skill and he's smart and he's still finding his way on the team. I'm on Team Samansky quite a
Yeah.
bit, and like in terms of a new contract, um, I want the Oilers to be real careful about signing 30 some players like Murphy and Dickinson going forward.
Can we add
They got a
Jack
lot.
Roslovic to that list, please?
I would definitely add Roslovic, and I'm glad that the talk that came earlier this year of a new extension for Roslovic has died down. They got to wait on these players, and they've got to have money to sign the core group of younger players that are coming up and are becoming decent hockey players here.
Yep.
So, and I don't want to see what happened to Broberg happen to Samansky, where his way gets blocked by a veteran. And I understand why that happened. And I mean, Kulak was so good for so long in the playoffs, and Ekholm obviously was a great acquisition, but it did lead to negative consequences. And you have a young player here in Samansky who is clearly a really strong defensive player. I just see a team like Dallas or Florida would look at him and say, he's our third line center. And we're moving on from older, more expensive players, or Carolina, in order to create a spot for him in the lineup. And I want that to happen with the Oilers. I think I've seen enough of Samansky to think
He's a
this guy knows
smart
how to play
player.
defense.
He's a smart player. Like
He is.
he is often, and I like some of his he tends to ride the middle of the ice, like high in the center slot, and with his, the puck just over the line, that gives himself lots of space to make a play when he's in the offensive zone. He did it a bunch tonight. Like, he just sees the ice well. In 11 minutes of time on ice tonight, he was 72% Corsi and 72% expected goals for. He didn't have a lot of ice time, and he still managed to convincingly get it done basically every time his skates touched the ice, and that's a really good sign, especially considering we have him for in a cost controlled manner now for at least a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, another year. He made a
Yeah,
nice play to Podkolzin where Podkolzin almost tipped it, and he made a pass down
is
low.
he any good or what?
Yeah.
What is this robbery? We can like. Not only did we steal Podkolzin for a fourth round draft pick, they gave us the fourth round draft pick back for Evander Kane.
Podkolzin was a bull tonight. Like, he was so good. And that was a great goal he scored.
Yeah.
Just drilled it home. He has become a fantastic two-way hockey player.
Oh yeah.
And it is.
He's earned it. He's earned it in every sense of the word. He's earned it.
And he signed the good news is he signed a 3-year value deal. I think it's, what is it, $3 million a year? Like, he's going to be
3-1, I
incredible
think.
value.
Yeah.
And if Frederick can come on and keep playing like this, and he has really been playing well, so much so that he's should be almost on more than the third line or fourth line now. I think he should be, and he's if there's room, I don't know where they're going to find it because there's lots of good forwards. That's the good thing about the Oilers, so much good forward depth. But things are looking up a little bit at least here. Kev, any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add?
No, I just I'm glad that they were able to pull this out for King Leon. It's going to be a slog to the end of the year. We hope that he recovers in a speedy and complete fashion, and that he doesn't have long-term residual effects or require any surgery. I'm not sure of exactly what the injury is. I've seen two competing theories. Neither of which are particularly great, but neither of them would be something that I'd be worried around, career impact per se. But I really we need him healthy, and we need him healthy now or sooner than later. But at the same time, if we're going to, given the way this season has gone, I would not want to put Leon at risk in the longer term strategy for some short term gain, if that makes sense.
I'm hoping it's just a really, really super bad contusion, kind of Charlie horse contusion kind of thing, where he just really his leg has stiffened up. It's super tight. It's injured, but it will heal within a month to 2 months. And like like they didn't say about the in their thing, he's gone for the regular season with the Oilers. Now, it wasn't Knobloch who's completely unreliable on injury information. It was the Oilers organization who put that out.
Yeah.
So we don't know how accurate. Like we can't, because Knobloch always underestimates. We can't
Yeah.
automatically assume this is the same thing, but I am assuming it, that they're probably underestimating it, and it'll be a challenge for him to come back, which is really super bad news. I mean, at least maybe, but if it is just, he's got a whole month here, a little
Yeah.
bit more than a, and if he can just, like, that'd be, if he gets back, that'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just he's so crucial in this team, and he's clearly one of the leaders in that room, and well respected amongst the team, and he brings a ton of capability that the Oilers pretty desperately need on any given night. But like, to see his proteges step up here, and Podkolzin and Kapanen and Savoy, even to help pick up shoulder some of this load. That's a testament to his capability as a teacher and as a leader, and I see him having a fairly long career in coaching or management after his career is done. He's just he's an inspiring individual as much as he can be. I think, what's the vogue word, bitchy sometimes, right? Like,
Do you think they'll call up anyone? I wonder if they call up
yeah.
Ike Howard, or
The,
they can call up. They have room now to call up people if they put them on LTIR.
well, and they get 3.8 million in cap relief from that because they won't put him on season-ending Elter, obviously. But I would look at them calling up some combination of Ike Howard or Roby or Venti, or even James Hamblin on the front, and then maybe bringing in Regula on the back. I don't see, unless Jari completely comes apart at the seams, that them bringing up Pickard or something like that. But it would sure be nice to see him really buckle down. Like, he was huge in the game where he came in relief. Like, he really did show up, and then the next game it was in a manner of speaking the Stuart Skinner show all over again, right? Like, and I don't mean that, like, I wish Stu the best. I'm so glad that he's in a place where he doesn't have some of the market forces to deal with, shall we say, that he does here, or did here, especially around his family. But it was time for a move, and I just wish that we had, that Jari understood maybe a little bit more what he was getting himself into in this market.
Kevin, I think this is the most pressure packed I've ever seen Edmonton for players. Yeah. This is the harshest judgment consistent from fans, coaches, GM. If you're below average on this team, as I say, you're gone. They've gotten rid of 10 players this year. 10 players.
How many of those were actually below average too, David? Like, really, if you think about it, how many of them are below average, or versus out of favor versus contractually obligated to move on?
Well, playing at a lower level than they played previously on the Oilers is how I would put it. Because Stetcher and Kulak were both down a quart, like, compared to their previous performance. They weren't bad players. They just weren't playing as well as they had played previously. So, and they're good players. It'd be nice to have Stetcher and Kulak right now on this team.
Yeah, Stetcher went on to be their basically leading defenseman over in Toronto, and Kulak's doing quite well from what we saw of him on the Avalanche. The Avalanche were rumored to have been interested in signing him before Edmonton did 4 years ago. So interesting that it's come full circle.
I understand what Bowman did. He wanted to get younger on the blue line.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to lose trade Emberson or Regula. So I got that. But Regula just didn't step up. He faded, and now
we'll see what if they call him up. I'm interested to see what he looks like after playing a boatload of minutes in Bakersfield, to see if he's.
I'd like to see him again, because I saw a good player. I saw the makings of a good player at the start of the year. So.
Yep.
Alrighty, Kevin, let's leave it there. Thank you for talking tonight.
Thanks for having me, David.
And thanks to the smartest, wisest, and sanest hockey fans in the world, the faithful. And in the meantime, and in between time, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.